But other than that, I think we're good to introduce our first speakers. As you see, their names, their pictures have been up there. They love to see themselves in the mirror, and so they said, Dave, what our requirement is that you make sure that when people are coming into the room, you keep our pictures up on that screen. So okay, fine, that's what we'll do. And no, I'm just kidding. They actually were. Paul said to me, he goes, "Can we take that down? It's kind of weird having that up there." But I'm going to tell you a little bit about Paul Sinclair and Isaac Kuhlman, who actually going to be speaking here next. How many people here are outsource profit members? Sourcing profits. Thank you. I knew I was off there. All right. How many people went to their event last weekend? You guys can step away for the next hour and 15 minutes because they're going to present the same stuff that they're actually put some different stuff together. But I would love to hear how you guys are doing with that course, because we've heard some great things coming from what they've been doing with their members. And they're going to talk about a lot of different stuff. And just so you know, that's one thing we didn't talk about. No one here is here to sell you on anything. We're not going to do anything that someone's going to say, hey, buy this package, go to the back of the room, and drop your credit card for $5,000. We're not doing anything like that. Everything this weekend is all about content, okay? There's no sales pitch. There's nothing for sale. There's just material to be for you, to help you learn, okay? So I know a lot of you guys are excited about, because everything we're presenting is just a bonus to you guys. Now, there's going to be things that they'll talk about, because I know they're going to mention about their course. That might be something you want to pick up later if you're not a part of it, but that would be down the road. And there's going to be some other speakers that will talk about their courses are coming out, but nothing for sale this weekend. If it's something you want to do later, great. We'll talk more about about learning after the first break. So with Paul and Isaac, Paul is a well-known in the Amazon world. I think you guys, we've had him on webinars before. He has generated more than $12 million in sales since 2012. $12 million. That man right there in his business. With the help of his partner, Isaac Kuhlman, who Isaac actually started to work for Paul, but now they're partners. Paul is also widely recognized as the expert on anything to do with sourcing from China, and he's been there more than 20 times in the last 5 years. So, I mean, he is the person, if you guys are thinking anything about China, you're going to want to learn from Paul. Paul is a serial entrepreneur, as he's never had a real job, ever. Making money on the internet since 1995, which I didn't even know the internet was available in 1995. But he has been making money since then. Paul and Isaac also created Sourcing Profits course to train others on sourcing highly quality private label products from China at the lowest possible prices. So, without further ado, who's breathing in the microphone? Is that me or you?
Probably him.
Let's bring on Paul and Isaac to the stage.
I think that's mine. Yeah. Yeah.
He's a heavy nose breather.
All right, guys, how you doing? Let me just get my timer going so we know where we are. Perfect. All right, great. Well, firstly, how's that sound? Is that okay? Yep. Okay, you guys hear me clearly? All right, fantastic. Look, firstly, guys, just a show of hands again. Who here was at the live event last weekend in Las Vegas, our event? Well, great to see you all again.
Thank you.
Hopefully you guys are not too sick of us. We obviously presented a lot of content outside of the sourcing from China, as well as focusing on sourcing. So what we're going to talk about today is basically we're going to cover three main areas that we think is really valuable to you guys. Obviously, we run our businesses day to day. We're in the trenches. We're not just professional speakers. This is something that's pretty much out of my comfort zone, standing up here talking to you guys. But we want to share with you some of the little things that we do in our business that we think are really important, especially people who are just starting out or maybe got one or two products up on Amazon. So,
yeah, we're the opposite of professional speakers. So if we sound stupid or come off weird, it's because we don't do this for a living.
So why don't you start?
All right, so guys, I want to introduce you to Paul Sinclair. You kind of heard the little intro from Dave, but really, who is he? Back before ASM, there was a thing called AMM. I think it was Amazing Money Machine. It was Matt Clark, Jason Katzenbach, and they sat down with a mastermind group of people. There was a couple other people in the group, but Paul was actually part of this original mastermind. It was 5 people. They basically did a mastermind for 6 months, one time a week, or 1 day a week, every week. They sat down on a Skype call, and from that conversation, basically Matt and Jason took that and turned that into ASM1. So this was basically a man who helped create and help get all those ideas flushed out for ASM. He was actually one of the original speakers on stage at ASM1, and he also spoke at ASM2. obviously the main thing that he was telling people to do at the time was sourcing from China. And basically it was because a lot of everybody else already doing stuff on Amazon or drop shipping or doing supplements, stuff from America. But we found out obviously really fast that you can make a lot more money sourcing products from China, turning them into private label products and getting, you know, your $10, $13 price ranges or your profit margins from those price ranges. So that was really Paul. I mean, Matt was already doing the Amazon stuff, but it was all, you know, supplement stuff. So basically from his experience with China, that's when they introduced the ASM model instead of the AMM model. And I mean, if you want to talk about, you know, the trip that we went to China, basically he actually held a China trip back in August of 2013. Matt and Jason were looking for some sort of mastermind. It was their very first mastermind, and they didn't really know what to do. And Paul said, you know, well, I got this kind of travel business that I've been wanting to do. I've been to China so many times that I really want to take a group of people there and show them everything that, you know, I know and kind of take them on a luxury tour as well. And from that group, there's about 30 to 35 people, and I would say about 80% of those people are still selling quite well on Amazon. There's members like John Gill, Ben Cleary, Daniel Adunson. There's people in there that you would recognize, and they've actually, you know, since then become very well known in the ASM market as well. So if you want to talk about that, Paul.
Yeah, look, to me, I mean, I just want to point out the value of masterminds. Guys, get in masterminds. They are huge. You know, get yourself into a tight group, 4, 5, 6 of you guys. You know, share everything. You know, in this business, we're also guarded. You know, I don't want to tell you my product. Okay, get a tight mastermind group, meet once a week at a certain time, share exactly what's working for your business, ask for help. Okay, huge. That's how I started in this business. That's how I believe a lot of ASM formed. So again, that's the first thing I would just say. You know, moving on, I just want to quickly talk about Isaac. Isaac came to work for me about 2 or 3 years ago, and, you know, I left Isaac to learn a lot of stuff on his own, but pretty much everything that I'd learned in this business, I taught Isaac at the time. He knows everything I know and then some. He's pretty much my operations guy. He's in the trenches every day, basically doing everything that's necessary for us to run our business. So Isaac's been a valuable member for us. He was actually the guy that created the Sourcing Profits content. Obviously, you know, there was a few of us gave our input, but he pretty much wrote everything that we did in there, and he offers all the support. Who here has dealt with Isaac on a one-on-one basis through Sourcing Profits or anything? You know, maybe ask questions, emails. Yeah, I mean, you guys, he's fantastic, right? Yep. Okay. Well, I think he is anyway.
He's okay.
So for us again, we have a team in the Philippines. One of the things that we did. You know, we virtual assistant out a lot of our work, obviously, back in the early days. About 6 months ago, 8 months ago, Isaac and I sat down and said, you know, if we were starting all over again, what would we do different? And the first thing we decided to do was to get ourselves a physical presence in the Philippines. You guys, how many here has a VA in the Philippines? Yep, a virtual assistant in the Philippines. Okay, you guys will get there. As you're moving forward in your business, it's a critical aspect, okay? One of the things we wanted to do was to bring it in-house. And so we set up a company in the Philippines. Setting up there was quite difficult. It took about 3 months to get through that process. But we now have a complete team of what we call brand agents. Okay, basically people, instead of it being a virtual agent or a virtual assistant, we call them a brand agent. And they pretty much manage all our different brands and products, some of our partners as well. So that's our team in the Philippines. Oops, wrong way. And yeah.
I'm sorry for interrupting. A quick announcement, because cars are going to be towed in 20 minutes. There's 3 cars that are parked at the Apria Healthcare, and they need to be moved immediately because they're towing in 20 minutes. So I think there's 3 cars over there. So Apria Healthcare, I think it's the building over here is what they said. So just if you guys parked over there, I think there's 3 cars, just to let you know, because they were going to tow. So sorry for interrupting.
No problem. We don't want anyone.
Just don't tow our car, okay? No, it's not. It's not there. Okay, so moving forward. So we have also a China sourcing team, all right? When I started this business in 2012, the very first 2 employees I hired were both Chinese sourcing agents. Okay, critical aspect of my business. You know, sitting there trying to source products from China by yourself without having the extra resources of a sourcing agent, I think is very difficult. It's something you do need to learn at the start, I agree with that. But as you move forward in this business, if you've got multiple products, sourcing should be something that is done by basically a professional, someone on the ground in China. So my first 2 employees were actually in that picture as well, and that's only just taken not too long ago. So they still both work for me. So again, Philippines, China, and then we have our presence in Las Vegas. We have have an office in Las Vegas where we work out of, and we have our staff on the ground. So between all of our outsource and our local team, we have close to 40 employees. So we have grown to obviously a big business.
And we're not telling you guys that to sound like we're really cool or anything like that. We're actually telling you this because at some point, you guys will have to get to that point. If you got more than 5 products, you should probably start outsourcing to some VAs because they're going to really be able to help you with your products moving forward.
Yeah, so basically, as I said, what we're going to talk about now is 3 different topics, and these are topics that we think are important for you in your day-to-day running of your business, especially if you're just starting off or you've got to the point where you might have a product or 2 up on Amazon. And this is stuff, again, we're trying to be complimentary to ASM. Look, we love ASM. Obviously, Isaac's been through ASM 3 times, and the new course with Dave and Shane and Rich.
Great job, by the way.
Yeah, you guys did awesome. And, we love ASM. We always push, promote and say, hey, ASM's the way to go. But this is just some stuff that we maybe do a little bit different or isn't taught in ASM. So the first thing we want to talk about is basically what we call our business and account setup. And this is mainly to cover some areas such as business privacy, an LLC, using an RDP, okay, remote desktop protocol. For 3-4 years now, I've been telling everyone who'll listen, you guys, you've got to protect your Amazon accounts, okay? And I'm going to talk about what that means. And we've got some tips just for if you've got a new seller account, which some of you guys are still in that place. So starting off, business privacy, and why do you need it? Okay, guys, I've been through a situation where I had one Amazon seller account about 3 years ago, and that seller account was doing around about $350,000 to $500,000 in sales a month. And on a certain Sunday afternoon, I get an email from Amazon saying your account has been banned.
5 days after I started working for him, by the way.
Yeah, 5 days after he started. And at the same time, Matt Clark and Jason Katz, Matt had an account that was doing about $200,000, and Jason had one doing about $50,000, something like that. All 3 of us got swept up, had our accounts banned on the same day. So between the 3 of us, we were losing, $750,000 in revenue at that point. Devastating. Okay, devastating. Anyone in the room actually had an account shut down? Okay, well, we've got a couple. Well, guys, obviously, I know you're just starting off and you're probably thinking, why do you get your account shut down? Look, yeah, we probably deserved it 3 years ago. There's no doubt about it. I'm not going to, make excuses. There are things you can do that can push the envelope in Amazon. And back 3 or 4 years ago, Amazon was the Wild West, okay? And there was stuff that you could do. And we basically got our account shut down for incentivized reviews. Basically, 3-4 years ago, a really good tactic was, hey, you write a review, we'll send you another free product. Okay, obviously if you do that today, yeah, you would get your account banned immediately, okay? You do not want to incentivize reviews. The tactic is now, I can give you a free product where you write an unbiased and honest review, and Amazon accepts that. But if I was to say to someone, hey, I'll pay you $5 to write a review, or I will give you another free product if you write a review, Amazon will not allow that. So that's what happened, and the 3 of us had done that because it was amazingly effective. I mean, we could get 50 reviews on a product a day by giving out 50 free products and saying to our customers and saying, hey, you already got this one product, we'll send you another one if you write a review. So and I'm glad they've done that. I mean, one of the things that I really like about Amazon is they have cleaned up a lot of this stuff, because if it was still the Wild West right now, it'd be crazy. It'd be absolutely crazy. And there are still some stuff that's done that that competitors will attack you and so forth. But you definitely want to be careful of that. So why do you need it? Okay, again, you may do something that you don't even know that is against Amazon's terms of service. For example, you might sell a product that's got a patent on it, or something where you actually sell a product it's a generic product and you list under another listing. These are the kind of things that you can do, that you may not even be aware of it, and Amazon could shut you down. Or even to the point, maybe you're merchant fulfilling and you just miss a few metrics and they just shut you down. Okay, I believe it's very, very important from day one that you protect yourself. Okay, just again, if you get to the point where you're growing into a big business, and I think we all want to get to the point where we're growing into a big business, you'll probably want to look at having multiple seller accounts. Now, Amazon does allow multiple seller accounts. You can contact Amazon and ask them, request them. Let's say you've got one brand in garden and you're selling, garden tools, and then you want to start another brand and you're selling, baby items. Okay, you could potentially go to Amazon and say, hey, I would like your permission to start a second seller account, and these are the reasons why. They'll generally approve that. I've actually heard of somebody having 3 seller accounts sanctioned by Amazon. The only negative about that is, of course, if they shut down one, all 3 are gone. Okay, they're not just going to shut down one and then leave the other 2 open. They will shut down. And somebody else actually on our weekend last weekend said that had happened to them. They had multiple seller accounts that were sanctioned, and they got one shut down, and they're all shut down. it's really, really critical that you, again, if your business is relying on Amazon and you get shut down overnight and you can't restart another Amazon account, your business is over, okay? So this is why I'm kind of stressing the importance of at least protecting you. Now, having multiple Amazon seller accounts is against Amazon's terms of service. Okay, I'm not telling you should do this. I'm just telling you there's a lot of people out there that do it, that know how to have multiple seller accounts because it is something that they want to protect themselves from diversification. Look, if you're not doing, if it's not for, to do anything wrong, like, to try and dominate a category. The reason why Amazon doesn't like you to have multiple seller accounts, what about if I have the top 3 products in a category under 3 different seller accounts and I'm kind of like manipulating the price, rising prices? They don't want that, okay? That's the main reason why they don't want multiple seller accounts. So basically, if you have good business privacy, it'll stop reverse engineering as well, like your competitors. I know that there's a lot of ways that I could kind of go in and find out who's selling a product, who they really are, where their supplier is. I mean, that's the stuff you want to avoid. I mean, competitors, if you become successful, you'll get reverse engineered. Okay, you'll get competitor attacks, you'll get reverse engineers, they'll try to find your supplier, they'll try to damage your brand, all that kind of stuff, all right? So,
yeah,
obviously...
So a thing just to mention here is, guys, treat this business like a big business from the start and don't just think small.
Yeah, and obviously, one of the big things that I would suggest if you are setting up an LLC, and we'll talk about if you do go down that route, I believe you should use a non-branded LLC. And what I mean by that is, a lot of you guys know that one of the products, or one of the brands we sell is a cell phone accessory product brand called iSmooth, right? For example, if I was starting out today, I would not want to start my LLC as iSmooth LLC, all right? The reason I would do it something like ABC Sales LLC or Paul and Isaac LLC or something that makes no relationship to that brand. And the reason being is that if you're shipping stuff by sea from China, you have to register your product with U.S. Customs.
And stuff.
Yeah, and basically that's a public document. Now, if I was shipping stuff as iSmooth LLC, you can go and search for that, and you can Google and find out how to do this. It's very simple, guys. You can search for iSmooth LLC, and you'll see I just got a shipment from ABC factory in China coming to where it's going to. Right? So basically, you've just found out who my supplier is. Now, in my business, for screen, again, I sell screen protectors under the cell phone category. Again, guys, cell phone accessories, it's not a category that I recommend you going into. We are actually going right out of it. We're about 1/10 of where we were a year or two ago in cell phone accessories. Neither of us really care about that category at all. It's just so, if you're in...
Margins are terrible.
I mean, 2-3 years ago, we were making really good money in cell phone accessories. Nowadays, it's been squeezed so much, it's just not worth it. So that's a little aside. But basically, we sell screen protectors as one of our product. And I went to maybe 30 or 40 factories to find those screen protector supplier. Okay, if you guys were able to find my supplier just by doing a quick search in 1 minute, all that 30 or 40 visits to China, or factories, I should say, not visits, but all those factory visits and so forth, that's a waste for me, because you've just found my supplier, and I believe I spent 2 years finding the best screen protective supplier we could in what I believe in the entire world. It took a lot of work to get that. So that's something I believe you should do, is use a non-branded LLC. Does that kind of make sense? I mean, it's just for, again, reverse engineering. There's people out there like us who will look for that stuff. Okay,
don't make that mistake, is what we're saying.
What you took? Yeah.
So guys, if you're actually looking to get really good LLC set up for business privacy, there's a company in Wyoming. Wyoming is actually one of the most secure states. It's called WyomingCompany.com. It costs about $500 to set up, and the privacy is great because what they do is they actually hide who the owner is, and they take the responsibility as a registered agent, basically. So there's multiple companies out there called, whatever, but they're all registered agent by WyomingCompany.com. Nobody can actually get the record for who owns the company unless subpoenaed in a court of law. And the reason why that's important is unless you're doing something illegal, which we're not, you probably are pretty safe, and then people can't reverse engineer your LLC. So we highly recommend that. Sales tax is actually a little bit different there because Wyoming has like 565,000 people, which is like less than Scottsdale probably. It's not very much. So you might get like 2 sales there. Everybody always talks about the nexus for which you're going to have to pay sales tax. If you're a Wyoming LLC, you're only probably going to pay sales tax for that state, and maybe 1 or 2 people a year will buy your product online, so you don't have to worry about those sales tax. So it's got a lot of good benefits. You guys can look into it, but that's what we use when we want to protect a company. not because we're doing something illegal, but because we don't want competitors out there checking out our products. And you can go to that website and kind of learn more about them. You know, we should get like really affiliate marketing and stuff for them.
Yeah, we have nothing to do with them, but that is not us, all right? We just use their services. So next thing I want to talk about is something called Remote Desktop Protocol, RDP. Okay, basically what this is, RDP, or a virtual private server, and unfortunately we can't go live to show you what it looks like, but basically what it is, we rent a server, we rent a machine from an internet service provider anywhere, it doesn't really matter, but usually somewhere close to where we physically live. Now, we live in Las Vegas. We have a lot of obviously our office is in the Philippines, so we actually get most of our servers on the West Coast, okay? So it's good for the Philippines connecting across and for us from Las Vegas. But wherever you are, you might find something that's kind of local to your area, and what you do is you pay about, something like about $15 to $30 a month, and then you will actually connect with your computer through to this virtual private server that lives in another ISP. And then what happens is on that other server, that connects to Amazon. Okay, so as far as Amazon sees, they only ever see the connection between this virtual private server, this other machine, through to them. So if they're tracking your IP address usage, like for example...
They are tracking your IP address.
Yeah, they are. Like for example, there's no Wi-Fi in here, but if everyone logged on Wi-Fi and then logged onto your seller account, what do you think Amazon just suddenly sees? I mean, all these seller accounts in the same room with the same IP. Now, what happens if somebody in this room is, totally black hat and doing really bad stuff, gets his account shut down? There's a chance you might get swept up in that, okay, because your IP was the same. And that has happened in the past many times. I mean, I've heard this happen a lot of times. We only ever log in from the one IP address, which is this virtual machine, to each Amazon account. And that allows us to have one machine for one Amazon account, another machine, another Amazon account. So basically, I can sit there, I can connect with my phone to the virtual machine and control it. I can sit there on my desktop and control it, or I can sit there, basically my employees from China or the Philippines can connect and only go through this machine. So as far as Amazon sees, they only ever see one IP, one machine log into that Amazon account. Incredibly safe, okay?
You can travel around the world and access it from anywhere in the world.
Exactly. I mean, it's an incredibly safe way to do it. So, you probably say, well, I've already been logging on my home IP and all that kind of stuff. Look, that's fine. I still recommend that you protect your existing account, your first account, and if and when you get to that point of wanting to do a second account, you can then basically, you can obviously protect that one as well, and there's going to be no commingling and so forth. So it's a really, really important thing. And once you've seen it, it works fantastic. I mean, every one of my employees has two monitors. Left side is kind of like our working monitor. The right side is the remote desktop. And it's just, your mouse just moves from screen to screen. It's just like you're working on the same computer in your room, on your desk, whatever it is. So basically, it's something we highly recommend. We're going to give you a link at the end of this presentation, which will actually give you a list of what we call our SOPs, which stands for Standard Operating Protocols.
Procedures, but yeah, whatever.
What's that?
Standard operating
procedures, yeah. So basically, we've actually got setup instructions, so you guys can actually figure out how to do it yourself if you want to. It's actually step-by-step instructions. What we do in our company, anytime somebody does a task and they repeat it, we get them to create an SOP, okay, and put it up. And we've got a collection, how many would you say?
Over 130 now.
Over 130 SOPs for every single task in our business. You want to create an Amazon listing? Here's an SOP. This is how we do it. So we can hire somebody and say, okay, and this is your job. You've got to do these 10 tasks. Here's the 10 SOPs. Done. That's our training. Fantastic. We learnt that from Ezra, actually, Ezra Firestone. He was a master at doing that because he outsources everything. And this is something relatively new for us, maybe only 6 months. But Isaac and the team have done 120 SOPs in that time. And again, if we wanted someone to start today, we just show them the SOPs, and that's 90% of the training. It's a fantastic way.
So you don't waste your time doing it. I see some people taking pictures of slides. As part of this link that we're going to give you at the end, we're actually giving you all of our slides today as well. So don't worry about taking pictures, guys. Just pay attention, take some good notes. Don't worry about the pictures.
And look, this concept is, I think, a little bit confusing sometimes. People are sitting there going, it don't sound like I need that. And that's okay. At some point in the future, I'm hoping you do need it because your business has grown and you do realize the value in it. And again, if you ever hear me speak again, I'm always going to be telling you guys RDPs, RDPs, RDPs. So, and anyone in Sourcing Profits, we actually talk about that a lot in it, and Sourcing Profits as well. It's just something that I think is incredibly valued.
Most people don't want to learn about it until after their account gets shut down, so...
And again, if that does happen, if your account ever does get shut down, you can restart if you follow a lot of these steps that we're kind of talking about. So,
And when you do, if you ever have to start a new seller account, I mean, how many people here came through ASM 5? Great, most of the room, awesome. So there's a couple of things, guys. When you're ordering product, you got to be aware that there's certain restrictions on what you can actually ship right into Amazon. We call these Amazon gotchas because it's great. Like, oh, I could go out and get a 10,000 unit order, or if you get your account shut down, you have 30,000 units in stock. You want to ship it right back in. Well, you can't because now your new seller account actually has 150 case count limit. You can request to get that raised, but it might not happen. And you have a storage limit of 5,000 units. So you can't ship more than 5,000 units into your new Amazon account. So that's just something to be aware of, guys. It's not secret news or anything, but it's something to be very aware of because we've made that mistake before. We actually had that account get shut down that was making $300 plus $1,000. We had 90,000 units in stock. We had to open a new account. Guess what? 5,000 units at a time. So we'd have to wait, ship more in, get more in, and just keep doing it. And then we were like, finally, we're just like, you know what? We're going to get another one so that we could do it twice as fast. You also have some buy box limitations. And Paul, you can kind of speak to this. Basically, in a new category, there's got some restrictions.
I mean, we're taught in ASM to use FBA, but sometimes you may do FBM as well. And you may notice with a new seller account, the first 90 days, you will not get the buy box in most categories until you've actually been selling that category for 90 days. And the reason why we mention this again is if you're starting a second seller account, you may forget all these stuff that you ran into at the start because they didn't really apply. But for us, like Isaac just said, when we had a second seller account, we had 90,000 items to ship in and our limit was 5,000. It was a logistic nightmare. I mean, you know, we were literally shipping every day.
I was literally shipping every day.
He was literally shipping every day under my supervision. No, but we were literally shipping every day, and it was just, we were doing overnight because we couldn't allow it to go for 7 days or 5 days because that limit, you know, we were selling 1,000 units a day. You can imagine it's just crazy. So again, just pointing some of this stuff out, there are some buy box limitations. You know, obviously, again, we'll move through this pretty quickly, but you want to make sure you set up your shipping correctly. If you're doing FBM, set it to free shipping because it doesn't default that way. Sometimes it does. You know, the new seller accounts, I'm finding some really quirky stuff when we're setting them up, but and you can talk about it.
And then, does anybody here know what stickered inventory versus commingled inventory is? Some people, yes. Some people, no. All right, so when you guys set up your account, if you just kind of went through and clicked next, 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 and didn't really read, there's a part in there where it asks if you want to enable stickered inventory. Well, you guys have all heard horror stories of hijacking listings and stuff like that, right? Well, we actually probably have the ultimate horror story. We are selling a screen protector, 300 plus units a day. We had it under commingled inventory because we just did it on a new account, again, because we weren't really paying attention. And it went into commingled inventory. Now, we had a competitor send in about 1,000 units on our product, not our product. It wasn't even close to our product. It was just a screen protector in a Ziploc bag with a sticker on it. And because it was commingled, Amazon didn't care because it had the same UPC. So what they did was they put it within our inventory, and once it's sold, and we were doing 300 units a day, so within three or 4 days, their inventory was already gone before we even knew it. It cost us about $50,000 in sales and repercussions on customer service, giving out free replacements because we honored the agreement that basically if they purchased our product thinking they were going to get our product, we were going to give them a replacement. So it cost us, you know, multiple thousands, tens of thousands of dollars just for making that one mistake. So if you go through your setup, make sure you're enabling stickered inventory. You will get an FNSKU for every product for your seller account that is specific to your seller account. Amazon can track what's actually being sold from your seller account. And you don't actually have to sticker your inventory. You can take that FNSKU and put that on your packaging to replace your UPC. So that way you don't have to sticker every single product. And it saves you a ton of money. And you know, it's just one other way to help you fight off hijackers.
All right, so we're going to move into product selection now. Okay, product selection is critical. Obviously, you guys, how many here have actually got a product up on Amazon? Fantastic. You guys are getting taught well. How many here are still struggling with product selection? And you may even have a product up on Amazon as well. I mean, we struggle with it all the time. And product selection is something that's obviously critical to the business. You make a good choice, your product is obviously going to sell. If you make some poor choices, you know, you're not going to sell. I mean, that's...
Sometimes it feels like you won the lottery when you finally find one that's good.
Yeah. So I want to tell you really briefly, back in 2012, 2013, we had an approach that was pretty much probably what's very similar to taught in ASM now, and it's been taught in ASM. You know, basically, we would look at stuff, let's see. I mean, we would look at the top 100 products. I mean, we'd go through the top 100 category, maybe go into the top 200, something like that. You know, we'd look at stuff that's where there's a lot of competition, there's a lot of sales. You know, obviously the sale price between $15 and $40, you know, under £1, and the product cost, you know, up to $5, something like that. I mean, that was the approach. Now, back in those days in 2013, there was low competition, okay, as far as sellers. Now, you know, thanks to guys like Dave and Shane and Rich and Matt and Jason, there is now a ton of competition in this business, okay? And of course, ASM's just a small part of a big piece. I mean, there's a ton of different courses out there teaching this. You know, as I said, ASM by far the best course. I believe in that strongly. But there is literally tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of sellers doing exactly what you're doing. But 3 or 4 years ago, there wasn't that competition. I mean, we could literally go into the top 100, pick a product that's just, you know, looks to be selling well. We'd do our own private label version, and then we'd sell multiple hundred units a day. And we used to make a lot of money out of, you know, a somewhat tighter product selection. You know, we spent a lot of time making the product the best it could be. I mean, we did a case study last weekend where it took us nearly 9 months from conception to when it got to the shelves of one particular product, and it had, you know, 9 different pieces in the packaging, and 5 different factories were involved. I mean, we lost our shirt on it. I mean, it was a perfect example of what not to do, but there was some good teaching in it as well. But, you know, and this product ended up costing us $20, and, you know, we ordered 2,000 of them, and we've probably only sold maybe 200 of them in total, and that was over a year ago. So, I mean, you know, the reason why I'm saying that is we spent a lot of time on our packaging, our inserts. I mean, we felt like we had a lot of time because we knew that if we took all the time, made the product the best it could possibly be, put it up on Amazon, we'd sell multiple hundreds of units a day, and we'd make a lot of money out of the product. And that used to work fantastic. I mean, it really did. That's changed. I mean, that has absolutely, definitely changed, okay? That does not work anymore, in our opinion, okay? From someone who's in the trenches, I mean, we have probably between 200 and 300 SKUs right now, 200 or 300 different products. So, you know, we've obviously got a lot of experience about what we think works and what doesn't. In my opinion right now, there is obviously way more competition from sellers. All right, if I had a product, if I launched a product today and it shot up into the top 100 of you know, the bestseller rank of a particular category, there's probably going to be anywhere from 500 to 10,000 sets of eyeballs will see that within 24 hours. Because there's courses out there telling you to go through and look at the top 100, look at the products. People are going to be looking at that product, especially if it's just like, you know, it's got the new arrival tag and it's straight away in the top 100. That would be death to that product. That's going to be up and down, okay? Because, you know, obviously people are just going to copy that. Competitors will come in and attack it because, you know, if you're in the top 100 of a really competitive category, you're making a lot of money. There's a lot of money at stake. We know that. I mean, again, supplement guys, if you had a product in the top 100 of personal health and care, you're selling 500 units a day, 100 to 500 units a day at least in the top 100, especially if you're getting down towards the top 20. There's a lot of money on the line. So there's a lot of people out there. There's a lot of people who are, you know, no integrity, who will just destroy, attack, and you know, and basically do whatever they can.
Yeah,
so,
and I think it was Brian said last night to me at the speakers dinner. He said, "I had a product on the first page of this really competitive product before for a couple of weeks."
Yeah.
Because then as soon as he did, competitors attacked it with 1-star reviews, and he's basically sunk.
So what I think, and I'll speak for me, but what I think is the 2015 approach that I really like to follow is, to me, a home run product, a product that's a massive success, is now 10 to 50 units a day. Okay, under my definition. Of course, would I like a product to sell 100 units a day? Yes. Would I like it to sell 200 to 300? Honestly, probably not. You guys are probably thinking, that's crazy. No, because again, that same thing will happen. It means it's going to be way too visible. There's going to be a lot of people looking at it, especially in a niche category. I mean, you know, let's say a baby car seat. Let's say we released a baby car seat, which, you know, that doesn't really fit the Amazon mold or the ASM and the, you know, the private label mold. But if we release one and we're able to private label and get into the, you know, and it was selling multiple hundreds of units a day, don't you think other people who can see that as an opportunity are going to go like, wow, we'll copy that and do it? And the bottom line is, there's people out there that do Amazon way better than we do. We are so wide. We have so many products. We've got so much staff. We're missing things. For you guys that have 1 product or 2 products, you guys are sitting there every day. I mean, you're refreshing your page. You're looking at it. If you see it, you see it's been hijacked before we would ever see it. I mean, obviously there's software that alerts you to that kind of stuff. But basically, you guys have more vested interest in 1 or 2 products than we do of 1 and 2 products when we've got multiple hundreds. You guys get that? So basically, what
That's
I'm
why
looking...
you need help sometimes.
Yeah. So again, to me, a home run product is 10 to 50 units a day. How many people in the room have got a product selling 10 to 50 units a day? Fantastic, guys.
That's awesome.
That's a home run. And I really believe that. That is a home run. Okay, in this market right today, that is a home run. Anyone got a product selling 100 units or more a day? Yeah, a couple at the back. Yeah, and again, and how are you, I mean, the competition, they're brutal.
Yeah.
Yep. So she's saying it's
Competition's
brutal.
fierce.
They've discovered her supplier, and you've got people making, I mean, suppliers giving copies. I mean, it's brutal, okay? Now, you know, I don't want to be, you know, doomsday, but the chances are you're going to start seeing that. It might even be on that way down, you know? Perfect. She's saying she's hedging her bet and she's going for this kind of approach. Yeah. So again, home run products, 10 to 50 units a day. And you know, it really is the 80-20 rule. And again, it's very cliche, I get that. But basically, from my experience, I'm in a lot of different network groups. I read a lot of forums. I talk to some very successful sellers. I mean, I talked to a guy who has got over 1,000 SKUs. And, you know, Black Friday last year, he did $1 million in sales in one day. I mean, crazy numbers, okay? Now, he releases, $1 million in a day. He releases multiple products, and he really believes that 1 in 5 of his products hits that home run model, you know, and 4 out of 5 don't. I mean, he really just throws everything up. I don't believe that's quite the case for us. I mean, we feel like we can probably maybe we can get 2 out of 5 will be a home run. But really, guys, I'm being realistic. If you've only got one product here in this room, I think you've got a 1 in 5 chance of that product getting 10 to 50 sales a day. And I don't mean to be a doomsday here, and I don't want to bring anyone down. I believe you've got, you know, that's the numbers that I've seen out there. You've probably got a 20% chance of getting that 10 to 50 sales a day. And I believe that 4 out of 5 will probably not sell 10 units a day in that particular product. And so what we kind of are talking about now is, you know, the products we're looking for is in that 500 to 5,000 BSR range. Okay, 500 to 5,000 in most categories is going to translate to probably 10 to 50 units a day. Obviously, some categories are way less competitive and some are way more competitive. But I think something like that, you know, I'm not looking again, I don't sit there and study the top 100. It's been a while since I've looked at the top 100 now. I couldn't even tell you, you know, who's in the top 100 of certain categories because it just doesn't cross my mind to think of that anymore. But I've already mentioned it's under the radar, but even more importantly, well, firstly, you want to look at something that's under $2. I mean, a lot of the criteria is still the same as what ASM teaches. I'm just kind of going for a different mindset around what you should be looking at as what is a home run. Okay, under £1. To us, through our experience, the ideal MOQ is 500. All right, 500. If you've got a product you order 500, if it starts to take off and it looks like it's a home run product where it's getting 10 to 50 units a day, 500 is enough stock to really see if that truly is it is heading towards that path. If you only order 100 of something and, you know, it starts to sell 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 10, you know, you're already out of stock. Okay, you don't know if it's just going to get to 10 and plateau or 12 or whatever. If you've got 500, you can get to the point where it can start to get to 20, even 25 a day before you run out of stock. The second part of this is if you start to see a product taking off and it gets to that 10 a day, you've got enough time generally to reorder before it goes out of stock. You know, so that's just another little factor. MOQ of 500. If you can do less and you can get away with it, you know, I wouldn't go anything less than 200. I really wouldn't. It's just not enough data, in my opinion. It's really, really tough to get enough data if you're doing 200. I mean, if it starts to take off, you're out of stock almost immediately, and then you're going back to reordering, and, you know, and then you've got to really start over again. So that's basically ideal. Now, this is the one thing that I've changed very big on, is the basic packaging to start. You know, 2 years ago, I would have probably vomited to say that you guys should be doing basic. I mean, I really felt that strongly that you know, the packaging was so critical. Nowadays, I believe when I say basic packaging, I'm talking about just using the supplier's you know, standard packaging or your factory standard packaging. Obviously, you want to make it look good. I'm not saying you just want to stick.
Don't have them design it because it'll be in Chinese and be weird, right?
Yeah, I absolutely believe you should still get the best design, you make it look as good, you know, have a good insert, all that kind of stuff. But we do a lot of fancy packaging. I mean, we have one girl in our office, Stephanie, a lot of you guys might know. I mean, she really spends a lot of time making our packaging look amazing. You know, professional like packaging where, you know, the case study we did, it probably competes against what an Apple box does and an Apple package does. I mean, we really spend a lot of time there. But nowadays, that doesn't work as much because, again, it slows things down. I mean, we generally get slowed down if we're trying to get custom packaging. My belief is if you get the home run product, you reorder, then you redo it and get really good packaging, which will then help, you know, down the track of obviously getting even better reviews. So basic packaging just to start. And I'm a big believer in finding complementary products now. If you're entering a category, for example, the baby market, you know, one of our partners sells baby bowls, and we use a case study for that. We have no problem talking about that. But, you know, you might go in and look at who's selling baby bowls, the competitors, and look at the 5 to 10 products they're selling. That's a really good way to find complementary products. Go and look at your competitors and find out what they're selling. And, you know, generally, and they'll probably have the 80-20 rule as well. If you go and look at their BSRs of those 10 products, probably 2 out of 10 are going to be selling pretty well. The other 8 out of 10 are not going to be selling so well. It just seems to be the rule that we're really finding that, you know, 1 out of 5, 2 out of 5 are being quite successful, and the other 3 or 4 are not.
Don't get hung up on your first product being part of that, you know, 80%, like the part that doesn't make it, right? Because then you can go out and just do another product, and hopefully that one will be the one that makes it to that home run success, 10 units a day.
Now, we're kind of sorry. I know it's hard. Both screens are supposed to be working. I know it was hard for you guys over there, but this is just a very simple example. I mean, again, it doesn't really mean anything. It's just basically to show you that there's a $20 product on Amazon. It's selling, I can't even see it, but I believe it says $3 to $4 from memory is the cost price on Alibaba, something like that. And then the BSR on this product is $17.52. That's a pretty, I mean, that fits that model really well, what we just talked about. Just you know, whatever it is, it's a strainer. That is not us, obviously, but that's just a product that you guys can see. Now, on Alibaba, again, we don't use Alibaba a lot at all. And sourcing profits, we teach a lot about sourcing agents, so forth. But I'm using an example you guys can all follow. If you go to the J&S Houseware, which was the company that had bidded the $3 to $4, you know, through Alibaba, you'll see they've got a list of all their products on the left-hand side. Now, a lot of these, and again, my eyes aren't great, so I'm going to have to come a bit closer, but a lot of these are basically like a mesh colander, a mesh strainer, a frying basket, splatter screen, a punching basket, don't even know what that is, a fry skimmer. They're all complementary products. Now, in an ideal world, if I can find a supplier that has 8, 10, 20 products that are all quite, you know, similar and they're going to be complementary, that's even better as well. So again, I would really highly recommend you look at your competitors, look at their products they're selling, and then look at your supplier and try to get your supply. If you're getting quotes, by the way, guys, if you're sending an email to Alibaba and you're looking for a specific product, also in that email, ask them, can you please tell us, is there any other products that are complementary or in the same category as well? They might give you a product that you hadn't even considered that fits the criteria even better. Okay, so you know, your suppliers can be really good with that kind of stuff. So we're going to give you an example, okay? This model, this 2015 model, as I'm calling it, I believe, look, at a minimum, if you're going to release 5 products, you can, you know, hopefully that 80-20 rule will happen. You'll get 1 out of 5 will hit, maybe 2 out of 5, because, you know, the ASM teaching does help that. I really believe you follow all the ASM teaching, you've got more chance of probably getting 2 out of 5 as hits than 1 out of 5, okay? If you just kind of put stuff up with, you know, without doing the optimizations it gets taught, you know, you're probably less than 1 in 5 is a chance of having a success these days. And again, 2 years ago, I would have totally disagreed. I would have said 4 out of 5 would have made money, but it's just become so competitive. So basically, I'm going to use an example now, and we're going to show you what kind of money can be made from this model by using 10 products, okay, by launching 10 products, right? The assumption is that 8 of those products are only selling 3 units a day. So they're misses. Just about all products, it's very rare for a product to sell 0. In our experience, if you do everything that's you kind of taught, you get reviews, you get, you know, all that kind of stuff. You give, you know, you basically follow all the ASM teaching.
And you don't leave it and disregard it. You know, don't be negligent on that product. Keep going.
But so this is I think this is a realistic assumption. Only 8 of those products are only going to sell on average 3 units a day. Okay, and 2 of those products are going to be home runs and sell 25 units a day. Okay, that sounds like a fairly decent assumption. Yeah, you guys, you can follow that. Okay, we're going to say it's a $20 sale price and an $8 profit on each item. Again, those numbers are right on what you'd expect from what we get taught. All right, so 8 are selling 3 a day and 2 are selling 25 a day. So that equates to sales of $30,000 a month from those 2 home run products. Okay, this is total sales, not profit. And that's $14,400 a month from the other 8 products. Only selling 3 units a day.
I'll even take the 8 products right now, right?
I mean, eight failed products is selling you $14,000 a month, okay? That's basically, I mean, again, very, very reasonable assumption. 2 of them selling 25 home run products, 8 fails, but they're still selling $14,400 a day. That's a total of $44,000 a month in sales, okay? But let's look at the profit. From those 2 products, you're making $12,000 a month in profit, okay? From the 2 home run products selling 25 a day. And for the 8 products that have failed, you're still making another $5,800. That's $18,000 a month in profit, guys. I mean, who wouldn't love that? $18,000 a month in profit.
That's not, you know, we're selling you dreams and hopes and wishes. We're not saying you need 1 product to do this. You get 10 products. You do everything right, and you get that profit. It's
going to take some work. I mean, 10 products is a lot more than launching 1. I get that. But I'm just trying to put it out there, guys, that if you've launched 1 product and it's not really, you know, it's honestly, it's in that 80% that's not really the home run type scenario, you've got to consider launching more products. I mean, at a minimum, if I was sitting in that seat right now and I knew everything I knew and I was brand new starting out, I would launch 10 products. Yeah, it takes a bit of capital. I get that. 5 products minimum. If I'm not launching 5 products, then I may as well go home, because either I'm going to be very lucky, I'm going to be 1 in 5. Because realistically, if everyone in this room only launches 1 product, I believe 4 out of 5 probably won't make any money out of this business.
And they'll probably quit.
And you'll probably quit.
Even if you get 2, I mean, that's still better than, it increases your chance, right?
And we're seeing it all the time on the ASM forums. People are trying to get, you know, a year or 2 ago, no one complained on ASM forums that they were losing money or they couldn't make money in this business or they were trying to sell their business. I see it all the time now. People are selling, they're saying, I'm getting out, you know, it hasn't worked for me. And I believe it's because they've gone down this path of just using the 1 product and you put all the eggs in 1 basket and it hasn't hit. So
and I equate this to your first girlfriend or boyfriend, right? You don't fall in love with that person because there's so many fish in the sea, right? And if they break up with you, then guess what? You don't fall out of love forever. You know, you get back on the horse and you try again. The next girl comes along, next boy comes along.
And some of you will marry your high school sweetheart and do $400,000 a month in sales, okay?
You won the lottery.
You won the lottery, but you know the chance of that, what's that? She's in the back. So Dave, he won the lottery. There you go. But you know, seriously, I mean, it's serious. I've seen people get on stage at ASM and they're doing $400,000 a month, $300,000 a month from 1 product. They won the lottery. And yeah, 2 years ago that was very possible. And we've done that, and we've made a lot of money from 1 or 2 products at times.
Made over $1 million off of 1 product in a year.
Yeah. And so anyway, I just want to show you the sales on that. So basically, that worked out to a total of $532,000 in sales per year, $216,000 a year in profit from 10 products with really reasonable assumptions. Really reasonable assumptions. I don't think anyone in this room would say those assumptions are unrealistic. Okay, 2 out of 10 being home run, 8 out of 10 being failures.
Treat it as a business, guys. It's not a hobby. We'll actually take questions at the end. So if you do have a question, you can come on up
write
and
it
we'll
down.
take questions at the end. But treat it as a business, guys. If you treat it like a hobby, you're going to get paid like a hobby. And if you can grind for a year and get this done and kind of start to VA some of your stuff out, you'll make this profit.
Yep.
And who doesn't want to be the happy baby?
Who wants to have that, yeah? $200,000 a year. Who could live on $216,000 a year in profit? Yeah, I mean, that's a good money. And then,
even if you reinvest 80% of it, you're still getting paid something, right?
All right, so that's our talk on the product selection. I hope that's really valuable around product selection, and I really think that you guys, you know, it's what we're doing in our office. We have partners come to us. We do partner up at times, and we tell people, look, we're not going to partner with you unless you're willing to do 5 to 10 products, because it's just not worth it, because if you're only going to do 1 or 2, then we think it's going to be a waste of everyone's time.
And they're going to blame us for having
yeah, because I truly believe that if I only had to pick 1 product, I'd say at best, and if I spent all my energy and attention on it, it could be a 50-50 chance whether that 1 product is even a home run. And if that was everything I know and it was just 1 product that I was focusing, I'd give myself no better than a 50-50 chance. So for someone who's just starting out and doesn't have that experience, you know, to think that you guys are going to have a better than 50-50 chance, I don't think that's realistic to think that way.
You don't go into the stock market and buy just 1 stock. You diversify your portfolio. So this is what we're telling you guys.
So you want to?
Yeah, so guys, we're known for sourcing. We created the course Sourcing Profits. We're going to go over some of the topics here. A main thing that a lot of people don't teach you is to build relationships first and then to try to work your magic on your sourcing, on your factory and everything. So one thing we've actually learned is that you don't want to introduce yourself as a boss, but introduce yourself. Introduce yourself as something like the marketing director or the sourcing director or something like that of your company. And that gives you one ability and one ability only, a negotiation power that you didn't have if you suggest that you're the boss. If you say, this is my company, I'm the final person, that Chinese person knows that they can't negotiate with you. And that pretty much kind of pushes them away from you, thinking, oh, well, this is the last person I can talk to. Say you're somebody, like the sourcing director, or you're the product development manager or something like that, and you can go in there and say, I can talk to my boss and we'll see if this is okay. As soon as you say that, they'll say like, oh, whoa, wait, I can give you a better price. Hold on a second. Because then they're going to want to say, okay, this person's going to go talk to somebody. Let's go ahead and give them a better offer right now. So that's one thing we've learned. Another thing we learned is that you want to ask the right questions. I don't know if you guys have the same experience that we have, but when we first started, we were asking like one thing at a time, like, what's your MOQ? 3 days later, we get an email back. Our MOQ is 2,000. Oh, okay. So what's the price on that? 3 days later. So it takes us like a week just to get an answer on the MOQ and the price per unit. Well, we ask, we build that relationship up front, do that little small talk, whatever, and then we just ask all the questions right up front. We actually built a 15-point factory questionnaire that we have our sourcing agents, and anytime we talk to a supplier, when I go to a trade show, I ask them all these questions up front because I don't want to sit there and waste their time and waste my time for the next week if they're not going to be beneficial for us. So we get that information right up front. We get all the answers in one place. We put all those answers on a spreadsheet or in a document, and it kind of helps build trust. We try to build trust with our factory by saying, look, we've been doing this for a while. We're on Amazon. We're really successful sellers. You guys don't have to say that. You can say that. You portray yourself as that by saying that you're not the boss. You're somebody working for the boss, right? They just assume that because you're contacting them from America. They assume you're successful. Build the trust and say, like, if you guys work with us at the beginning, in the long run, we're going to keep ordering more and more product. We know how to do this. We've done it before. We want to test your market. And so the Chinese really like to hear that you're going to keep growing with them, because that's their intentions with all business relationships. They don't want just a one-off order and then you never talk to them again. So,
by the way, that questionnaire it's part of the link at the end of the presentation. You guys will be able to write that down. We encourage you to use that. Okay, if you're contacting people on Alibaba, send them this as part of the your due diligence, and you'll get a lot of those answers immediately. This is a very helpful thing, and this is something that it took us a long time to develop something like this. And I think Isaac was probably the one that ended up doing it. But it's very, very important to get all those information, get everything immediately, because the sourcing process can be a very drag-on, slow process. If you know how to make it quick and and ask the right questions immediately, you obviously get the right answers, hopefully, that you can make a decision on.
Yeah, and don't be lazy, guys. Don't be the guy getting pushed around with the lawnmower because you want a riding lawnmower but you can't afford one. Don't be lazy. And what we say is we always want to talk to 20 or more factories, because out of that 20 or more factories, half of them are probably going to disregard any communication whatsoever.
Let me ask you guys a question. Let's be honest. This is not about shaming or anything like that. Who, when they first were looking at their first product, sent out, they went on Alibaba, they may have sent out 3 or 5 emails. Maybe you got 1 or 2 responses, and one supplier kind of sounded like they were pretty good. They understood your questions. Their price was somewhat reasonable. You thought, hey, that'll do. I'll go with them. Who's done that? Because we've done that as well. Yeah. Guys, what's the chance of you having the best supplier you could have ever found? I mean, it's pretty low again. And again, look, it worked. Obviously, it does work. How good does it work? There's obviously...
You pay for the convenience.
Yeah.
So if you do a little bit more work, you pay less money. And that's why we say sourcing profits. If you actually go out and try a little bit harder, you can actually save money on everything that you sell. So you want to get 10 quotes, at least on a sheet together, so you can compare those factories. And then out of those 10 quotes, we suggest getting 3, 5, 7 samples, multiple. Don't just waste, I know sometimes samples can be expensive. We'll go over that in a little bit. But try to get 5 or 7 samples so that way you can really compare. I mean, some of those people will have like this really low price per unit, and you're like, that seems really weird. I guarantee that's going to be a crappy product, right? Then you get it, and you're like, how are they making this so good for this price? You're pleasantly surprised sometimes. So don't just assume because they're $1 cheaper than everybody else on that list that they make a better or worse product. Sometimes they just don't have as much overhead. They have a better, system for whatever they're doing. Maybe they're doing it manually versus with big machines. But just don't make any assumptions. Get those samples and test them out. Put everything on a spreadsheet, and that's going to give you your best chance to get the best price, best quality, and give yourself a successful product in the long term because you're going to make more on each product's profit.
And look, again, guys, that 80-20 model, that the home run 10 to 50 with 8 products, being a failure and 2 being a win, if you're not doing that, those numbers are going to go down. That 1 in 5 is going to be, maybe you're going to have 1 in 10 will be success. If you're not doing the extra work necessary to get the best quality product you can at the best price you can, all right? And I really strongly believe that. To even be successful in this business, if you're not doing that right now, then you're not even going to fit in that 1 in 5 of success. I mean, that's my belief. I mean, and again, I don't want to be a downer here. I'm trying to be realistic. This is what we do in the trenches every single day.
You'll still get a product, you'll still have decent margins, but you won't have the best.
This is not just something that we're just sprouting out as speakers on stage. Our sourcing agents do this every single product, and if they don't, they'd be fired. Okay, that's how important it is to us because, again, we want to be successful in this business. And if you're not doing this kind of stuff, your business is not going to be successful, in my opinion, unless you're a really lucky person or you marry your childhood sweetheart like Dave did.
Dave's a lucky guy in general. So just some sourcing websites, guys. I know a lot of people are always wondering, okay, well, if you don't use Alibaba, what do you use? Well, we actually use 1688.com, which is an internal China website. 90% of our products come from that. It actually gets better prices because it's Chinese business to business. So we get better product or better prices from that. But we have to have a sourcing agent because it's all in Chinese. You can try to work with it and see if you can get an English-speaking representative in there. But globalsourcings.com, madeinchina.com, dhgate.com, aliexpress.com. Those are just some other examples you guys can use. And you might have translation services through some of those, but we get 1688 as most of our stuff.
And just a reminder too, and the link that we're going to give you at the end, we actually have a PDF of all of our slides, so you can actually get all this information as well. So I know you guys are writing it down, but you can get it as well. So
we're going to go through this one pretty quickly because we want to have some time for Q&A. But become an expert on your product, guys. Know every single thing you can. It's only going to help you source better. It's going to help you find your best product. You're going to want to test your samples versus your competitors' products. Who here buys their competitors' products? You should. Because if you don't, you have no benchmark to know how good your product is. We test ours against our competitors all the time. We see a flaw in theirs, we try to fix it for ours. Make sure your quality is at least better or equal to or better than your competition. Otherwise, you don't have any reason to be in there. If it's worse, then you're just going to be selling a garbage product. Look at the competitor reviews on Amazon. The customers will tell you what's wrong with that product. And they'll actually help you run your business better, even if you have no reviews yet yourself. Use their competitor reviews to make your product better. Use your product at home, guys. I mean, it's everyday use. How are you going to know if it actually is good unless you use it? And then what we do is we extreme test it. We love this part. When we get samples, we put it on, do whatever with it, and then we go like this, smash. And okay, that worked. It didn't break. That's awesome. So then we do it 5 or 6 more times, and then we're like, all right, it's not going to break. So these people shouldn't be doing that with their whatever it is. It'd be okay. Obviously, don't do that with a light bulb. If you're selling light bulbs, just get out of the packs and be like, oh, this looks like an awesome light bulb. It's not going to work. This is Paul's favorite topic of all time.
Yeah, and look, guys, this is something, again, 3 years ago, I stood on stage at ASM1 and said, guys, get a sourcing agent. And everyone's like, what the hell is a sourcing agent? Excuse my language in this place. I just realized I might be struck down. But seriously.
Yeah,
I was like ducking on the way in the church. But seriously, sourcing agents, something I've been sprouting for 3 years. Like RDPs, to me, sourcing agents is another critical aspect. I mentioned at the very start of this presentation, my first 2 employees in my business were both Chinese, both sourcing agents. One was purely a sourcing agent. The other one was kind of sourcing agent and did logistics, handled all my shipping and so forth. It's funny, we started sourcing profits and knew very little about shipping. Okay, we get asked shipping questions all day long. He does especially. And we just, because we've had sourcing agents handle it for years, we haven't had to bother with that stuff. I didn't even know what XW, I didn't even know the terminology, FOB, XW. I didn't even need to know any of that stuff because my shipping agents handled all that stuff. So again, a sourcing agent can also double up as a shipping agent. But this is something that is critical to me in my business, okay? A sourcing agent does everything sourcing for you. We mentioned 1688. if you guys are just using Alibaba, fantastic. You'll obviously get some suppliers there. I guarantee you're not going to get the best supplier you can find. I mean, the chances are, there's such a big world outside of Alibaba. 1688, all those other websites. I mean, and again, a lot of the websites our Chinese sources use are internal. They use their version of Google, Baidu, or whatever it is, and stuff like that. We don't obviously have access to any of that because we don't obviously know Mandarin. So basically, they find suppliers not on Alibaba. Big one is they save money on samples. I'm sitting here telling you guys you should do 5 to 7 samples. And you guys are probably sitting there thinking, well, I've been charged $50, $80 a sample, yeah? 50 to 80 bucks you paid for a sample, one sample? I mean, we've paid, I've heard of people, someone told me they paid 150 bucks for a sample the other day of one product. Samples are expensive. But there's 2 reasons why. Number one is they're trying to stop the tire kickers, the guys that are trying to get free stuff. And secondary, obviously, you're getting one sample shipped from China to you, okay? What we do with our sourcing agents is, number one is they negotiate directly with the factory, and they're like, hey, I'm the sourcing agent representing this big American company. They don't know it's just me sitting in my boxes, at home. I mean, but as far as they're getting really excited. Oh, this is a big company. They've got a sourcing agent in China. They've got their own Chinese representative. And then we'd like to get samples of your product. A lot of the time, our sourcing agents will get samples for free, okay? They'll get them shipped to him in China, and we consolidate into one shipping. Okay, the sourcing agent labels them all very correctly, so we know it is. Then she puts it into a box and then ships it to us. Now, that might cost us 30 or 40 bucks for shipping because, again, we're not paying $80 for, which is a really inflated fee that the factories are going to charge because, they want to kind of vet you. They all say, we'll credit you the sample cost on your first order. We get that. But when you're doing 5 to 7 samples from 5 to 7 different factories, you only going to get credit for one of them. So it's not really a big saving.
You could lose $500 to $600 by getting those samples.
So basically, the sourcing agent gets all your samples and sends them to you into America or wherever you're located. Okay, it's a huge saver. If you're doing 5 samples and they're costing you on average $80 each, it's $400. Okay, if your sourcing agent is basically getting samples and getting them, let's say $10 each, and so it's $50 and then another $40 in shipping, you've got 5 samples for $90 total. You've just saved $310. Now, that just happens to lead into the next thing, which is splitting the cost of a sourcing agent. Sourcing agents will cost you around about $700 to $1,000 a month. Okay, I've heard of people paying $600, but I want to say $700 to $1,000 a month. Full-time, that's a full-time sourcing agent. Now, you guys are starting off. You guys are not going to sit here and say, well, I'm going to go and pay someone $1,000 a month for my business. What we recommend is, and we tell everyone in Sourcing Profits, to split the cost with another person or 2 people. Using that example I just said, having a sourcing agent just saved me $300 for one shipment of 5 samples, okay? So if I'm getting one shipment of 5 samples a month at $300, I mean, I can afford to pay that $300 to the sourcing agent and split it 3 ways. So if I had a sourcing agent with 2 other people at $900, my share's $300, she just saved me $300 just on samples alone for one set of 5 samples. So,
and they're also going to negotiate prices on your actual price per unit for your factory. And, if they save you 50 cents on 1,000 products, that pays the rest of their salary, the full-time salary. And then you keep doing that over and over and over.
Look, sourcing agents make you money. They're not a cost. They make you money. They're going to find you those 20-plus factories. They're going to get you 10-plus quotes. They're going to get you 5 to 7 samples. They're going to help you, obviously quality check your product, all those kind of things. They're going to, and then they're going to get quotes for shipping because sourcing agents can also get quotes for shipping, obviously. We always say if you're getting your product shipped from China, you should get a quote from your factory and then get at least 3 other quotes from freight forwarders. Chinese freight forwarders. American freight forwarders, generally you're going to pay a lot more. We go through Chinese freight forwarders that are generally a lot cheaper, or at least can be significantly cheaper. So, a really quick example, and we've still got a little bit here. When we had a product that was selling, maybe 2 years ago, selling 500 units a day, one product. Good product. It was in cell phone accessories, but we found a supplier. One of our sourcing agents happened to find a supplier. Don't know how she did it. We were in China at the time. Again, kind of random, we're in China at the time, and we went to this factory. We were paying $1 per unit, approximately $1 per unit for this product, selling 500 units a day, all right? We were paying $1 per unit. This sourcing agent said, hey, look, we found this new factory. They could be really good. We all went to the factory. We sat down there. We spent probably 3 hours at the factory. No one in the factory spoke any English whatsoever. We had our 2 or 3 sourcing agents. There was 3 of us. There was like 6 of us. This is a big American company have come in. And like, you know, again, it just so happened we were there at the time and we looked bigger than what we were. But we sat down. Anyway, at the end of that day, and they took us out to dinner that night, we built the relationships. At the end of that day, our price was 50 cents a unit for that exact same product. Okay, we were selling 500 units a day. We were suddenly making an extra $250 a day on one product because we just happened to find a better supplier, our sourcing agent. She's just saying, I mean, this one thing she found, $250 a day, and, you know, again, my brain's fried, but it's, you know.
Her salary for the whole year from that one.
Pretty much from one thing she found, okay? And so that's just an example of how they make money. And the last thing here, guys, again, this is not a pitch fest, but we have a lot of people say, great, we want to get a sourcing agent. How do you get one? And we got asked and asked and asked and asked. And basically, we ended up saying, okay, look, what we'll do is we'll actually get a service where we'll actually find you a sourcing agent if you want one.
Find you 5 candidates.
Basically, yeah, you pay a fee to us to do it. We actually have we've hired one girl in China now. Her only job is just to find sourcing agents. She just interviews and vets. You know, it's not an extensive process, but we do vet. We'll get you 5 candidates. You guys can go through them. You interview them and you hire them directly. Nothing to do with us. We don't get a commission on their salary. We don't have any involvement. You would hire them. So, you know, at the last weekend's event in Sourcing Profits, we asked how many people want to share a sourcing agent, and at least 1/3 of the 200 people there got together and were kind of networking. So, you know, I don't know, show of hands, is there anyone in the room interested in hiring a sourcing agent and maybe splitting it with some other people?
You don't have to hire from us, but just in general.
I mean, look at that, guys. That's more than half the room. I mean, you guys are going to be networking this weekend. If you want to hire a sourcing agent, put it out there and say, hey, if anyone's looking for a sourcing agent, let's talk, okay? It's one of those things that if you really do kind of spend the time building a relationship with you know, that other person, you could actually network, mastermind with them. They'll become a business partner down the track. You never know, but this is how stuff formed. This is how I really got into ASM, was that random network mastermind that I joined with Matt and Jason. And you know, now look where I am. I mean, I just think networking, masterminding is so critical in this business. So,
if you guys have any questions, come on up. We'll take questions from anyone and everyone.
Yeah, we've got about 8 minutes for questions. So we can probably do 4, 5, 6 questions, something like that. So if you want to line up over this side and just come really close to the microphone. I don't know if we can turn it around.
Okay, so, all right.
Sorry.
I'm wondering about the sourcing agent working with the supplier to kind of double dip. That is, hey, I'll get this guy to pay 2 instead of 1.75, and you put 20% of that in my pocket and I'll let you keep 80. In other words, conspire together to raise your price. You find that to happen.
You want to?
Well, I think I didn't quite hear because all the speakers are.
I think what he was saying. What I heard, I'll repeat the question. What I heard you say was that you're worried about a sourcing agent kind of getting like a kickback or adding some extra cost. Like if you find a price for it, you get a quote for $1.70. The sourcing agent tells you it's $2 and they make 30 cents a unit or something like that.
Well, we don't have that problem necessarily because unless they're working out some really, really sneaky deal with the factory, we just pay the factory directly. And unless they're coming over to the factory, which most of our factories are not even in the same city, they'd have to figure out a way to do that. Now, our agents don't do that. We build a lot of good relationships with our agents. We take care of them. And if you're working with them and not treating them like, you know, like a sales rep, they'll actually do this for you and not ask for a commission. If they're actually asking for a commission or working behind your back to take a commission, if you find out, I would just say, look, this is not okay. I don't want you to do this anymore. And if they say, well, this is part of our business, then you say, it's not my business anymore. I don't want you to work for me. But we have never had that problem. We had a guy that does a shipping company now. Basically, he was doing enough shipping for us that he kind of built up a little bit of a bankroll, and then he created his own shipping company. He was still giving us the same rates, though. So he just became a freight forwarder, but he's still giving us the same rates that he was getting from other freight forwarders. That's a little different, but you don't want people taking percentages of your products or anything like that. And we pay the factories directly. So unless they're really, really scammy, I don't see how they're actually going to take a percent there.
Come really close, really close.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
Actually, on topic of what you're just talking about, I have an order coming in next week for you. There's a group that is sharing. So
Oh, fantastic.
we'll see that next week. Anyways,
Good.
we're all set up. So my question is, you guys are based in Vegas. So you know about this in terms of resident agent. Why did you choose, or why do you feel better that Wyoming's better for an LLC as opposed to?
Perfect question. Because that's a really great question. We used to always use Nevada LLCs, okay? Nevada LLCs are not as private. Basically, you can still use a registered agent in Nevada, but we've just found that it's kind of, there's two reasons for it. Number one is the information that's published on the Secretary of State does generally, they ask for a list of the initial list of officers. There are some things that are published that I don't really want to know. And the main reason, again, as I said, reverse engineering from Amazon and from competitors. Wyoming doesn't do any of that. And look, Nevada is super cheap. We live in Nevada. I can do an LLC in 2 minutes, and it costs me $75, and then like another $125 for the initial list of directors or whatever. I mean, it's super cheap, super quick. There's a reason why we're choosing Wyoming. We're going to the extra expense and trouble because of that privacy that I think that it really is. And I really do believe this sales tax is going to be a bigger issue. At some point, we're all going to have to pay sales tax. Some people are paying sales tax, some people are not. And it's going to change very, very soon. And if we can kind of figure it out, if we've established that we've got our business is based out of Wyoming, like Isaac said, if we get 2 orders a year from Wyoming, I'd be shocked. I mean, Wyoming, compared to being in California, imagine how many customers you have in California or Texas or New York or, versus Wyoming. So there's kind of that. But again, we're not experts on this. And, and we kind of definitely push the envelope as far as, where we set up and everything like that. But I think it's worthwhile.
No knock on Wyoming, but their technology isn't that great. They only have 2 escalators there in the entire state. 2.
Can I get
True,
a
sorry.
secondary follow-up
Yep.
question to that then? Do you find, because Nevada ran into this, that they actually had to slightly adjust their reporting, especially when everything online, and you can go online and do it all online. So one of the aspects about that is you can actually set up the managing partner, which is a separate corporation, and that's going to also shield it because you don't have to tell who the
Yeah, but if you happen to know that person, and for example, if it's me on the managing partner, and people know that I know Paul, they could probably figure that out. But yeah, you're right. You can do that as well.
I mean, you can do multiple layers
Yep.
of it if that's what you wanted. Do you
Yep.
find that Wyoming's going to run into the same problem that eventually they're going to have to adjust?
No, look, Wyoming had to do something to, to give himself relevance. I mean, I'm not being, disrespectful, but this really brought them on the map. It's if you Google anything about the best places to set up LLCs, Wyoming is the most business-friendly state in the whole, the United States right now, according to what my research and what I've been told. So there's a reason why they've done it that
And
way.
you can go on that website, and they'll tell you more reasons why. I mean, we don't work for that company, but we
Yeah.
should.
I really appreciate it because I've worked with Nevada for years.
Yeah.
So it's nice to have another source. Thank you.
Yeah, it's just another choice. So, all right, next one. Come right in close because we can't hear.
I guess my question is more so advice for my husband. We both aspire to want more financially and be more so financially and moving up career-wise. When he sees the dollar signs, it's like, oh, we gotta hurry up and get this product out. We gotta hurry up and get this product out. And I tell him, let's take our time and look into things first before we jump into one product, or let's do 2 products in just a not cheaper, but less expensive. So I guess just more so advice to him, so he doesn't everyone raised it. Not everyone. Some people raised their hand as far as having their product already online, but it was a lot more people that didn't have their product online. And I keep trying to tell him, we don't have to rush. We just started in May.
Yep.
Take our time, build the business, look at the operational side of it, and just make sure we're doing it right.
Yeah, and look, I'm going to tell you right now, if you're just starting out and relatively starting out, to me, if I was sitting in that room, I would look at the big payday. The goal would be Christmas of next year, okay, 2017. All right, that's what I'm saying to you guys right now, okay? Because, it's interesting enough, today is exactly 100 days from Cyber Monday. Cyber Monday is 100 days from today. And so, basically, Cyber Monday through to the Christmas period, we've been in the business enough to know that our sales are going to be, anywhere from 2 to 20 to 40 times the normal volume during that period. Okay, we will see a massive, now, if we don't have our stock on the boat today, or at least very close to getting on the boat, we're going to miss that whole period. If I was just starting out and using that model of about the 10 products again, I would be absolutely focused to the holiday period of next year, getting ready. Obviously you'd be able to maybe get through just a little bit of this Christmas period and the holiday period, and then next year you can kind of build up and get your stock, get all your systems in place, get the 10 products out there, know which is your home run products, get them ordered, be really ready to go. This time next year, or maybe even September, October next year, you've got a decent amount of stock in, bam, it's payday time. I mean, you'll make a massive amount of money in that Christmas period of next
but don't
year.
be scared, guys. I mean, if it is that one product that only sells 3 units a day, just work to the next one as well. Just keep it going,
Yep.
keep it going.
That's what we have. We've already ordered our first product. And I kind of am iffy about it. I know I'm just 50-50 on it actually doing well. But that's the answer I was looking for, and thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. And guys, just real quick, the tinyurl.com/sourcing profits, that's where you can get all the slides. You can get, I think there's 4 or 5 SOPs for you. tinyurl.com/sourcing profits.
So we've only got time for 2 more questions. I'm sorry. So the 2 at the microphone are going to be it, okay? We'll go with you. Sorry?
That'll be real quick.
Oh, we can go a bit longer? All right, cool. Well, stay up here.
Stay there. We'll just keep.
But no one more. We'll just pull up a chair. We'll be here until 3 o'clock. Kia who? Kia, what is his name? Kiyosaki? I don't know. Don't worry about him.
Thanks for all the information, guys. I have just clarification when you're talking about setting up privacy. Do you do a different LLC for each product and a different virtual server for each of those 10?
No, we do a different LLC for every brand, okay? For every brand that we do, and generally, and every seller account, okay? Basically, so, well, actually, let me back that up. I made a mistake. We do it for every seller account because we sometimes have multiple brands under the one seller account, but we definitely do it for every seller account. We have a separate bank account, separate address, separate phone, everything that you need, separate EIN number, separate everything per seller account. Now, again, I'm not going to sit here and say that we have multiple seller accounts because Amazon doesn't like that, but we have access to multiple seller accounts with our partners. And, basically, we basically, have to set up in a way that this business can scale because, again, we couldn't scale where we are with one seller account. We absolutely couldn't. And we partner with people, and again, if we were trying to log into their seller account from our IP address at home or in the office or whatever, Amazon's going to link them together and just shut them down.
Yeah.
So
Paul and I don't have seller accounts on Amazon because we were kicked off Amazon.
Yeah, a little bit.
Because I knew him, so they were like, "You're gone."
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we got linked together. We opened up a selling account in his name, and somehow they linked us together and just kind of banned the account. And I was like, okay, and that's where we started to really learn about. Okay, we got to get a lot smarter. How do we figure this out? And that's why we've gone to that place. So, and that was a few years ago.
It's
so,
not paranoia. It's
look, again, this is nothing that happens to. 3 years ago, it was the Wild West. We were doing some stuff. Again, I don't mean to be sounding like we're shady guys or anything like that, but we definitely push the envelope. As I said, incentivize reviews is in the big picture. Is that should we go to jail for doing that? No, but again, it is review manipulation. I mean, everything we're doing in this room is review manipulation. Sending out a free product and getting an unbiased, it's a better level of it, I guess, that Amazon finds acceptable. So, okay, all right. Hey, Peter.
Thank you very much for coming.
Great.
My question was, what is a buy box and why does it take 90 days?
Okay. And again, this may have been something that could confuse some people. When you're basically the buy box is you go to a listing and there's the button that says add to cart, okay? And you can just click a button, add to cart, and your product gets added to your shopping cart. That's the buy box, okay? As FBA sellers, and again, we are taught to do FBA selling in this course, you automatically get the buy box if you're the only product on there. The only time you may not is if there's some quirky stuff going where you list your product for a really unrealistic price. Like if you put it up for $400 and it's normally a $20 product, it may not get it. What I was talking about earlier with the buy box is around FBM, fulfilled by merchant. Now, sometimes we do some stuff that is FBM because it does help us out with our business. And again, I just wanted to put that up as a limitation. If you're starting over, 6 months from now, you decide to start a second seller account, you forget all these things that were limitations now because you really fight through them at the start without them being a problem. I mean, most people aren't ordering more than 5,000 units on their first order. So, little things like that. But when you start over again and you want to order 10,000 and put this new brand, you're like, oh, I can only do 5,000. Forgot about that. So that were just some tips to remember. So. Okay,
Thank you.
Welcome. Hi.
Hi, thanks for the information.
You're welcome.
Really key thing. We just hit 50 units a day.
Nice.
And
I'm sorry, I missed what you just said.
we're going to do things a little differently. We just hit 50 units.
Awesome. That's more than a home run. Well done. Give her a hand. Fantastic.
Just a question about incentivized reviews.
Yes.
We offered Kuhlman, right?
Yep.
Where they got the product at 10% of value.
Get a little closer.
They got the product for 10% of value.
Okay.
$2.99. And they put on there, I received a discount on this product for an unbiased review. Are we good?
Yes. Look, you are good. There's been a lot of discussion recently around review clubs and around, these, you send out a promotion code to these programs and they get the product for free and they leave you a review. Who here in the room's been getting reviews removed from their listings? I mean, it's something that's happening right now is Amazon's getting more and more sophisticated and figuring out where reviews are coming from. And these review clubs are gonna hurt. I think over the next 6 to 12 months, you're gonna see them all disappearing because Amazon's just gonna say, okay, it was part of a review club, we're not gonna publish that review. Now, what you're saying is, let's say you've got if you're building your own list, okay, you've got your own Facebook group or whatever you've done, Goa Chaudhry did a presentation last week about building your audience. That's critical for building your business, in my opinion, getting reviews. Okay, if you have a list, an email list, or some way to get out a coupon to 20,000 people, and 100 people take it up, and you can get those reviews. That's not a review club as such. They're not reviewing all these multiple products that are all linked together. They're going to mostly stick. So, yeah, you definitely do want to have a disclaimer. I personally don't know if the disclaimer does anything. Some people say it does. Some people doesn't. All I know is that no human from Amazon is sitting there looking at all your reviews. Very, very unlikely, because there are millions and millions and millions of reviews being left a day. Okay, obviously, if there's been a big red flag, you may have a human looking at it, but it's all computer algorithm done. It's all stuff getting removed. So
having too many of those looks really bad on your product listing, though. I've seen listings where the top 5 reviews are because they got it for free, and if you're a regular customer, you're gonna go there and look. He's just paying for his reviews basically. So be careful with it. Don't get too much. We don't ask for the little disclaimer, and Amazon seems to have no problem with it. So.
Okay, good. One more question. Love the idea of sharing a sourcing agent. Could the people who raise their hand, maybe we could all get together in a corner on the
Yeah.
Where's Dave and Chris? Are you guys? Is there some process you might want to do at the end of this,
Let's do more. Well, you get and talk around and ask, I'm sure, and then maybe on Facebook that would be a good place to do it as well. Because I know there's a lot of people that want to share more so than just that's here. We have a big team, and we only have.
Use this time while you guys are here to network.
While we're here, could anybody who wants to share a sourcing agent meet me over there?
Yeah.
So
meet me in the alley.
Make sure you tell everyone your name so they know.
Well, Dave, what we did last week was at the start of a break, we just said everyone who wants to share a sourcing agent, if you guys want to go to the site.
Let's do that. So, and we're going to stop the questions now just because I don't.
Sorry,
guys.
guys.
Too long here. I apologize.
Thanks for all your
And guys,
questions,
just
though.
really
Awesome.
quickly, we're actually leaving this afternoon. We have to drive back to Vegas, but we'll be here for the next few hours. If you have any questions, hunt us down, and we can answer those last few questions offline.
That's what I figured. So we're gonna be on a break. So Paul and Isaac will be around, and like you said, they're only here till 3 o'clock. So make sure you suck them dry and just get as much information as you can, because as you see, they're a world full of knowledge, right? Let's give them a big hand.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys. All right.
Thanks, Dave.
Yep, appreciate it. Yeah, they drove down from Las Vegas just for the day. So, I mean, they came in last night, but they're 24 hours later, they're turning around because they have engagement tomorrow. So let's do 15 minutes. It's 10:36. Let's get back here at 10:51. We'll start right on the dot. So bathrooms over there, and you got coffee. And if you guys want to talk about the sourcing agents sharing, then we're going to meet over there. All right?